Greetings and welcome to RPMMORadio. I'll be one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and of course with me, as always, are the two ladies. Say hello, ladies.
Hello.
Jazz and Sim. Oh, yes. This will be our Halloween special. It's our 20th episode, you know. 20 of these horrible... oh. Sorry about that. I had something funny caught in my throat. So 20 episodes, Halloween special. Welcome to RPMMORadio. I didn't tell them I was going to do that.
That was a little bit of a surprise.
It's as much fun for me as it was for them. Probably more for me. So, appreciate everybody tuning in to RPMMORadio, live at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio every 2 weeks at 7 Central. And, of course, at our podcast, if that's where you're listening, you can always join us there. And if you're listening to it after the fact, you probably already know it's a podcast, because I just said it twice, and you'd be listening to it after Saturday. And you can get there through rpmmmoradio.com. And, of course, if you want to join us live as a caller, go to rpmmmoradio.com/Discord, join our Discord server, and we do actually have a way for you to call into the show, just like a real radio station. Just go to caller details, put yourself into and let us know what you want to talk about, or what you've got in mind at least, and put yourself in the caller waiting room, and when we're able to get to you, we will, get to you, because that's kind of how that works. And, that's pretty much how that'll go over. It's been pretty popular. We really, really love hearing from you guys. It's very, very cool. And sorry, I'm distracted. I'm trying to get back to my page there. There we go. And hey, T, the Khajiit. So it's pretty much just the best way to do that. And if you got anything, we won't be actually taking calls right off the bat today, because we have kind of a special. Hopefully, if we're also still around a year from now, we will have another one, and we'll just make this a tradition. We'll have 3 short stories for you tonight, fully produced and pre-done, and then they're not overly long. Each one's anywhere 10 and 15 minutes, give or take. And hopefully you'll enjoy them. We had a lot of fun doing them. Everyone did kind of their own thing, and all I did was say, write something scary or spooky.
And just remember, we're not professionals.
We are not professionals. That was abundantly clear. Although Jazz did surprisingly well. Apparently she has read to her children out loud a lot, or something.
I've read books for people for recordings, for people that are blind or otherwise want to be able to listen to books and they can't read. So I read to them, and I did that for a while. So
yeah, whereas she had 4 or 5 flubs, we had about 18 flubs for every one of her 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. But all right, so we'll go ahead and just do kind of the basics here, and we'll get into our stories. But before we do that, what have we been doing in roleplay? Anyone want to take it?
I will. We had the holiday thing going on, so
Double XP and ESO.
Yes. So I basically spent the last week leveling madly on my newer tune that I have rolled, and it's a Dragon Knight Dunmer, and kind of building her RP at the same time, which is usual for me. When I start playing a character, I tend to roleplay them more because I'm getting to know them. So, but yeah, leveling madly, she went from 18 to 46.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's only been going, it still goes off in the second, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm hoping to make 50 before it turns off.
Yeah,
I've got 4 more levels to do.
Did you do what I did the first time and not realize that you didn't have to click on the little cauldron that it summons and turns you into a skeleton for 2 hours?
Took me a while to figure out that, and because I kept turning it off, and I thought I was turning, because I couldn't stand it. And then I realized they were 2 separate things, and I felt stupid. So,
here, I'll make you feel better. I just stayed logged in for 2 hours because I didn't realize you could cancel it. So
okay, I don't feel so bad.
feel a little better? You feel a little less stupid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just a
well,
little bit.
yeah, well, you'll do something else to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
No, I really did. I had no idea you could cancel them. I know in like EQ2, but there's so many. Like, I was going off the fact that it's a motif, or no, a memento, and you can't shut mementos off early. Like, you know, when you do a long one, you're kind of stuck waiting for the animation to run its course. You can't cancel out of
Yes.
them. I thought that was the same thing. Turns out I was wrong. So there we go.
You were wrong.
I was
I know.
way
Imagine
wrong.
being wrong.
What about you, Sib? You got anything?
Not really. I've had a lot of real life stuff going on and haven't actually been in the game, but just a little less.
Oh, gotta get a little closer. You're cutting out there, babe.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I get any closer, I might have an issue.
Man, just do the Lewinsky thing and deep throat it.
You're bad.
I am.
But no, I
Dun-dun-dun-ch.
haven't had a lot of time to in game.
Yeah.
I don't have any good juicy gossip. Sorry, God. I feel like a failure.
You gotta speak quieter than that and keep cutting out. So, sorry, we're still trying to... I need to get a new mic because mine is so sensitive that if she speaks too loudly, it picks it up and echoes, and if she doesn't speak loudly enough, she cuts out entirely, which is not any better. So, we're working on that. We're working on it. But as for me, I've had quite a bit of roleplay. Actually, Roger Kishmas there, who just said lewd in the chat, has been doing every Wednesday. It's been a weekly war thing. It's actually been very, very entertaining, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. I think last episode I had spoken of, it's the one where orcs from the other side had attacked the city of Necrom. Technically not in the game, but we pretended, because that's what we do, is we pretend. And then we've been trying to gather other allies from the House Dress and Telvanni, which in Elder Scrolls are two houses that aren't actually part of the pact and all that stuff. And so we had to go and negotiate. One of them kind of got funked up at the last minute. Something they had pretty much signed and agreed to it, and one of the ordinators said, trying to be helpful, but offered something else after the fact, and then it was immediately agreed to, and she was speaking with some authority, kind of boned the whole deal, and she got into a bit of trouble, which was kind of funny. Kind of sucked, but kind of funny. And then recently they did the lewd guy, who was a house dress, who liked large women, large Nordish slave women was his thing. And Tarvala, being a very large, not Nord, but very large Dunmer at like 6'2", and the body and muscle mass of like an Amazon, was definitely he tried to proposition like 500 soldier slaves for her, a night with her. That was very funny. Luckily, she didn't have to do that because dress are gross. Sorry, house dress people, you nasty. But yeah, it's been doing that every week, and of course the regular stuff with had training and things like that. That's always very, very enjoyable. But that's enough of what we're doing. So yes, House Indoril for the win. But so you guys ready to go into the stories? We're having to set this up a little different because I don't have the capability or the technology to pump into their earphones everything I hear. Like if you're listening on the podcast, all the stuff that you hear on your end, I can hear that. The girls cannot, because we're doing the whole thing over Discord. So there's unfortunately no real way to accomplish things like that. So when I get everything started, they're going to have to kick it on their end. So if it's a little at times, that's probably why. And let me get this all set up here. Had all this set up, and then something got moved. There we go. And Ta-da! And that's why it did that. It just overrides things when and now they're all the same one. All right. You know what? Screw you. I'm going to do this my way. So, no pressure, right? No pressure at all. So the very first one we have coming up is a story written and performed by Jazz called Last Rites. And
no pressure there.
No pressure at all. Again, we hope you all enjoy it. I don't need to tell you anything more about it. We'll probably talk about them a little bit after the fact, but we're going to go ahead and start out with Jazz's. And this, without any further ado, is Last Rites.
He looked behind him in the darkened jungle, furtive and tense. For the last 2 months he had run, staying low and hiding out, campsite to campsite, sure that each day was his last. His breath was short and tight. His body was aching from worry and fear. He walked fast in the quickly approaching dusk, unhappy to have found himself in this dense, wooded place so late in the evening. Why did he stop for an ale? Why did he have to talk to that interesting Bosmer? Why did his libido always make the wrong choices? Why? The path stretched ahead into the looming darkness. No lights and no torches. For the immediate distance he could see. He paused his quick walk to catch his breath, leaning on the staff and stretching his burning shoulders. The pack was too heavy to walk this fast. What had he been thinking? His head twitched to the sound, eyes widening and pupils expanding in fear as he sought to see into the darkened foliage, deeper into the rising dusk and faint fog on his right. He tensed even more than before, eyes widening and his breath catching.
Who's out there?
He called out loudly, enough to startle a nearby clutch of birds, who jumped to wing and dashed out toward the sky. Crickets chirped. Somewhere a frog was calling to another. The hum of the forest continued. This time it was on the opposite side of the path. His eyes and body turned sharply to face where the noise had come from.
I know you're there. Come out and face me.
He stood there, fists clenched, waiting for an explosion of sound to erupt and betray the coming attack. The forest did not pause in its song or dance. No attack came. He slowly began to breathe normally. He resumed his walk, shrugging the pack higher and trudging through the forest, following the twisting path in the growing, deeper darkness. After walking for a few minutes, he paused and stopped along the path to grab a sturdy stick and opened his pack. Kneeling on the ground, he quickly took from his pack supplies to make a torch, wrapping the stick tightly with strips of cloth and using the flask of oil to soak it before he finally lit it with the flint. The light was immediate. He held up the torch high to illuminate the area around him. He took 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps off the path, lighting the dark forest to see if anyone lurked around him. Nothing was there but a few startled rabbits that shot away and caused him to start and then laugh. He was being silly. He nodded at his own foolishness and resumed walking, torch high and switching hands from time to time. The forest was less terrifying with the light, and he moved quicker. As he walked, he mused to himself that he had never really realized how long this stretch of forest was when walking in the daylight. After an hour, he finally paused and sat in a clearing. Using some loose stones, he propped up the torch against the boulder and stopped for some supper. It had suddenly occurred to him that he was starving. Food was pulled from his pack, and he sat there in the half-light moonlight, filling the little clearing in the wood. His eyes moved up and focused on the full moon in the sky. His eyes were immediately drawn to the location of the snap, to his right and forward, directly ahead of where he would have gone on the path. His heart danced in his chest, tighter. His eyes stared at the path intently. As they stared, horror began to build in his mind, a fear of what might be there. His breathing stopped completely when a small figure stepped into the moonlight for a moment and pointed at him. The figure did not advance. It was impossible to tell the gender or even the race at this distance, but it was definitely a person clad in dark cloth with leaves and twigs sprouting from the body. He began to feel dizzy and realized that he needed to breathe. A breath. In, out. The figure took a step back into the darkness and vanished, swallowed up by the power of the forest. His supper had dropped from his flaccid grip, paralyzed in fear. He barely held to the flask. His body trembled, and he continued to stare into the forest where the figure had stood and then vanished. His eyes looked back to the side where he had come, only to see the same figure there. His heart flopped in his chest. His eyes grew wide at the sight, much closer to him on this side. The figure pointed at him. It was grinning. It was then that he realized the person was naked, save for twigs, leaves, and moss, caked on the body with what looked like red mud. The eyes were wild and hungry. His mind raced. It was too far to run in any one direction. His mind reminded him that by now he was in the near center of the thick trees in this little forest. Anything waiting for him would surely get him before he could get into the clearing, into the next house or help of any kind. His heart throbbed in his chest. His breathing felt like something was tight around it. The figure gave a dark laugh that rippled through the darkness to him, and then, in a flash of movement, it was gone. It turned and dashed away so fast that if he had not been watching, he would never have believed it. A quiet moan of terror escaped his lips. The forest fell silent. He stood there, his ears straining to hear anything. A cricket, a bird, a bug buzzing past his ear. The howl exploded to his left, and the bright loudness of it sent him stumbling away from it in a start. His heart once again flopped in his chest, and his mind filled with terror. He ran. Sense would have dictated that he run forward, to follow the path, but he was long past sense. No, he bolted away from the path and deeper into the woods to his left. His ears could hear water, and he rushed toward it. Deeper in his mind, it screamed to stop, to think, to plan. He was too afraid, and his feet had a mind of their own. The mad dash took him through the wood in crashing, straightforward panic until he burst from the wood near a curve in the riverbank. He did not stop and followed his feet off the edge and into the water. The cold of the water shocked him into thought again. He splashed around like a bird in a bird bath, flopping left and then right, unable to decide where to leave the water or what direction to go. His cries were animalistic, and his movements spasms of indecision. Finally, after an eternity of flopping splashes, he moved to the far bank and collapsed. He lay there a long moment, panting, trying to listen to the forest. It was loud again, and no sign of anything but his own chaos. He rolled to his back and stared at the night sky. Her face was there suddenly, a grin lit across a mud-caked face. He opened his mouth to scream, but nothing came out. Something brilliant glinted off the moonlight, and he felt it strike his neck. The scream echoed, burbling, struggling, pure panic, then silence. The forest chattered for a moment about what that sound had meant. And crimson slid toward the river. He woke with a start, laying on the side of the road. Slowly he sat up, looking around. Dawn streaked the sky, and all around him was blood. On him, caked into his clothes, along with mud and twigs. His feet hurt. Nearby, on a sign, was a parchment, a bloody handprint in the middle of it, fingers splayed. He felt his blood chill then, for he knew that sign. His hand went to his neck to make sure his head was still attached, and he got up, wandering over to the sign on shaking legs. The paper was a bill. His mind raced ahead, remembering that bill. It was for a piece of land he purchased some time ago from a young woman and her son after the death of the owner. He had promised to sell it and pocketed the money instead. He reached for the paper only to see the ethereal glow of his hand. He gasped and stared at it.
What?
He spun around to see his body there, slumped like a broken doll. The eyes were open and staring at the paper stuck to the sign, posed for someone to find. Posed. He gasped and realized he was dead.
And there's the first one. So, that was Last Rites, written and performed by Jess. Hopefully everybody liked it, because if you didn't, well, yeah, sorry. That's all we got. No, she did very, very good. I was very, very impressed with how quickly we got through that one. So, and with that will be our second story, written and performed by Sib.
Mhm.
Yes.
She
I,
said very nervously.
I'm worrying about the echo, so I'm trying not to
Oh,
talk a lot.
no, you're all right. We can take care of that later. So just do what you got to do to talk, babe. Don't worry about it. You got anything you want to say before we get yours done?
I'm a potty mouth.
She
That's
is,
all I'm gonna. And I'm normally not a potty mouth.
yeah, not normally, but you'll see. So, written and performed by Sib, this is No Escape.
Ah, finally. Chris mutters to himself as he settles down into his well-used, broken-in game chair. He places a small cup with his favorite drink down on his desk, a little Daniels and Coke. Then he wiggles his ass, settling down into his chair, emphasizing just how comfortable it is. Now, let's see what's rolling in EQ2. He quickly types in his username and password. Then he leans back, folding his right leg up underneath his left knee. A huge grin crosses his face as he checks his Discord on his second monitor to see who all is in game tonight. This fine All Hallows Eve, October 31st. Yeah, he knows that he should be handing out candy to all the little demons and devils dressed up in their finest. It's just he hasn't been much in the mood for the trick-or-treating. Work, love, and just life in general has had him down the past few months. All right, here we go. The screen fades into where he is last logged off, right on the end of the pier in Freeport. He looks at the guild window and sees there's a few of his guildies on. He doesn't know any of the ones logged on. Feeling a little bummed at that, he moves on to check his quest log and sets off to find something fun to get into. Going to the World Bell, he selects to go to Nectulo's Forest. He thinks that is where he had left off on the holiday event, Night of the Dead. He again checks his quest journal and then his quest tracker, finding the location he wants after he is ported to the area. Chris calls his awesome mount that took him forever to get. Yeah, there's my baby. The brown nightmare warg appears with him on it, causing him to beam a Cheshire cat grin at the screen. What? Mel? Huh? Chris grumbles as he looks at the little letter icon that has just popped up. Dang, I don't want to go back to Freeport. It's probably just some stupid message of the day from the guild. His thoughts have just finished when the game again announces he has another message. And another message. Chris gets annoyed as he looks at the little letter icon on his screen. Fine! Shit! Apparently somebody wants to tell me something. Irritated, Chris pulls up the map and locates the closest mailbox. This better be good. If it's some spam douchebag, I'm going to report him so hard. Finally, getting to Neriak, he dismisses his mount and clicks on the mailbox. 1. Letter from the dead. 2. Letter from the dead. 3. Letter from the dead. 4. Letter from the dead. 5. Letter from the dead. Just then, another letter appears. 6. Letter from the dead. Chris looks at the messages with irritation. He clicks the first one. Death comes for you this night. Signed, the Death Collector. What the hell? Ha ha, very funny, Chris sarcastically mutters. He clicks his friends list to see which one of his asshole friends is on and has sent him this. Huh? None of his friends are on, or none of them are showing they are on. Bunch of ass. He clicks his Discord to bring it up on his second monitor so that he can check it out. His eyes go to the list of his guildies and friends, then run down the list to see what everyone is playing or not playing. He looks annoyed seeing that no one is actually playing EQ2 right now. He minimizes Discord and looks back to Sintis, his assassin character standing, looking at the letters in EQ2. He goes to the second message and clicks on it as a small feeling of unease begins to worm into his guts. Step by step, it creeps from behind you. Signed, the Death Collector. Quickly, he turns his character at the other players. Really, there's only like one or two he sees, and they seem to be just running by, off to do whatever they are doing in game tonight. Chris turns back to the mailbox, then moves the mouse over the third letter and clicks it. Look as you might, you will not see it when it comes. Signed, the Death Collector. Oh, ha ha, fucking troll. I'll fix you. He clicks the spam button, marking all the messages as spam. Then he clicks the setting so he can report the player. I hope you like that, Death Collector, you asshat. Chris quits counting as the letters just start appearing in his game inbox. He scrolls down through them. They all announce a letter from the dead. What the fuck? Come on! Pissed now, he goes to the last one in his inbox and clicks it. That chill running down your spine right now, Chris, is my finger. Signed, the Death Collector. Chris freezes as a chill does run down his spine. Starting and standing quickly from his computer, this causes his chair to fall backwards, banging loudly on the floor. He jumps at the sound of it, heart pounding, head swiveling. He laughs slightly. What the hell, Chris? You dumbass, he sighs and sets the chair back up. Someone is fucking with you. Damn Barry, or maybe Otto. Probably the two of the bungholes together. Finally, he gets himself under control. He looks at the screen with all the messages lined up on it. Taking his mouse, he moves the arrow icon to the sign out button and clicks it. He clicks the Discord icon and sends a message to Barry and Otto, his two best buds, in-game and out of game. Nice one, you two. I don't know who thought of it or how you managed to pull it off, but you got me. Now quit messing with me and let me enjoy my Halloween night playing my games, you two asshats. Don't you have better things to do anyway, like enjoying Bob's party? His hand, moving the mouse, goes to click the EQ2 button again, but he stops. I wonder what's been happening in the Old Republic lately. I wonder what they have going for the holiday event. It's been a while since I checked it out. I think I'll go hang out over there tonight. He moves the mouse icon to the icon that will open Star Wars The Old Republic. Yeah, let's see what's going on here tonight. Entering his username and passcode, which it took to find his cool little passcode generator, Chris had forgot he put it in the little secret swivel drawer on his desk. With a click of his mouse, he waits. He turns his head. Did he hear something? What was that, he thinks. Oh my gosh, Chris. What is wrong with you? He verbally reprimands himself. You're acting like a total wuss. Game fades in, and Chris has no idea where he is. Taking his mind off the noise he thought he might have heard, he moves the mouse so that his character slowly turns. Is this Narshada, he thinks? His character, Xanatos, his Sith Lord, is in a cross hallway. All 4 hallways lead off in different directions. All look the same. He clicks the M key and pulls up the map. The map just shows the cross hallway that he now stands at the center of. Really? What the hell? Chris tries to click out on the map to see more, but nothing happens. Chris freezes. Then slowly he lets his chair turn first to the right, then to the left, looking around. His apartment is small, 2 rooms and a bathroom. He looks around, trying to locate the source of the noise. His brow furrows as his eyes settle in the dark bedroom, letting his stilly gray eyes glide right over the lit bathroom. I am losing it. Getting up, he removes his headphones and moves towards the bedroom, cautiously and feeling like a total ass. He flicks on the light and sees nothing. He moves deeper into the room. Nothing is out of the ordinary. He mutters to himself, I should have went to Bob and Kirsty's Halloween party. He then leaves the room, clicking the light off and shutting the door on his way out. He sighs and walks back to his computer chair. Chris sits and swivels back to look at his monitor. He freezes, and a cold sweat instantly pops out all over his skin. Xanatos still stands in the center of the cross hallway, but the walls are now covered with writing and what looks to be blood smears. Death comes this night. It is written everywhere, letters as big as his character, and letters so tiny he can hardly read them. Every inch of the wall space is covered. Chris looks and fascinated. He clicks the / key, causing Xanatos to walk. Slowly, as he moves forward, Chris is unable to pull his eyes from the screen. What the hell is going on? Someone is really playing one elaborate hoax on me, he softly mutters. Then he hears something in the silence that follows. A whispering, soft noise, and his eyes quickly slide down to the sound. He realizes he has forgot to put his headphones back on. Chris's eyes look at the headphones as his mind reels. With shaky hands, he reaches down for them as his eyes look between the screen of his monitor and his headphones laying on the desk in front of him. The whisper grows louder as he slowly places the headphones over his ears. Chris, again, is paralyzed in horror as he watches and listens. It comes for you, smooth as a knife, runs through warm flesh. It wants to rip your soul. Tear, feast upon it. Death comes. In a raspy little sing-song voice, the words just keep being repeated. Yelling in fear, "What the fuck is happening?" Chris pulls back quickly from his desk. He bends down and yanks the plug from the wall that supplies the juice to the power strip that all his equipment is plugged into. Shit! 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 Damn it, Chris, he yells. Get a hold of yourself, man. He spins in his chair. Wildly, he looks around the space of his living room / kitchen. His skin has broken out into goose flesh, and his breathing is heavy and rough. It's just a joke. That's all. One of my douche canoe friends, that's all. Or what? Maybe someone I've pissed off? Chris's mind starts to run through all the people that might want to scare him. There's a few or more. His voice finishes his thought. But who would go to this extent for a hoax? Chris goes stone still. His heart feels like it's going to smash through his chest. He can't seem to find his breath. I will not turn around. I will not look. Nope. Hell no. His mind babbles on. There's a tug at his gaming chair, as if something trying to turn him around to his desk and monitor. He can't move, either by sheer terror or by the will of something else. No, he can't move. Another tug, and his chair slowly starts to shift. So slowly, so very slowly. Put your feet down, you stupid shit. Chris thinks. His eyes start to shift, looking left and then right. He can't turn his head. The soft glow of his monitor starts to come into sight at his far left. He can feel the tremble of his whole body as his hands grip the arms of his chair like claws, his nails digging into the foam stuffing. This isn't happening. Stop, 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 stop. Chris's voice comes out in a high, raspy scream. Who is that? His mind flashes. That isn't me. That voice isn't me. This isn't happening to me. To his left, as his chair makes its slow, torturous turn, he can start to see what? What is that? A hand? A fucking skeleton hand? It's coming from his monitor. No way. His mind starts to shut down. Chris has hit his limit of horrifying things. He just watches his monitor like a zombie as his chair comes to a stop.
We're reporting another strange disappearance today. Christian Jameson, a 38-year-old postal worker from New York City, is still reported missing after 10 days. Christian's apartment was found to be empty and largely untouched by his friends Barry Watson and Otto Holmes, who went to check on their friend after they had found he hadn't been reporting for work. The only disturbing clue to be found was Christian's computer looked to have been charred in spots, and his monitor looked as though someone had pushed something through it, causing a large jagged hole in its center. There was a single note found on his desk, said to have been the possible victim's handwriting by police, that simply said, "Happy Halloween." In other news today, I-44 was shut down once again. And there you have it. That was No Escape, written and performed by our very own Potty Mouth Sib. It was kind of an irony that the least cusser of us all in real life wrote the one with the most cuss words in the actual story. So that was kind of fun.
I was just channeling my inner gamer.
That's what she kept telling me. Which, having listened to our son and other kids on there, pretty much, yeah, you guys are foul. All right, so hope you enjoyed that. Again, we'll talk about all this stuff after the fact and go into our actual topic, which is some of our favorite Halloween roleplay. But first, we've got one more, and it is written by me, Ashton Phoenix, and it is called Hard Life. And so that I don't screw up like I did with Sibs, I'm going to make sure I get the right file here. Sorry about that, hon. You love you. For you on the podcast, I screwed something up. Don't worry, I fixed it for you. All right, so here we go. This is Hard Life. It was a hard life, but a fair one. Working the land, trading what you grew and pulled out of the earth with your bare hands to the locals and the nearest town. The life of a farmer was one of long hours under the sun with your hands in the soil, of your family working together to survive and thrive, if only you put the time and effort, and, God's willing, the weather agreed. Of course, in these parts, the weather was nearly always agreeable enough, plenty of sunshine and just the right amount of rain. Old farmer Thaddeus Monroe sat rocking on his porch with a glass of cold tea and watching his son and two daughters at play, a game of tag around the big tree, while his wife rocked next to him, fixing a hole in one of his favorite shirts. "Something on your mind, husband?" she asked in her high northern accent, her red gold hair pulled back and braided with little ringlets falling down over the ivory white of her skin. Gods, how did a country bumpkin like him end up with such a fine northern lass? "Yep. Heard something from the good fellas the farm over. Something's been killing their livestock these last few nights. Says it looks like they just up and stopped living. Didn't even get ate, except one what got caught by a coyote getting nibbled on. But it weren't no coyote what brought them down, no ma'am. Then there's them rumors of cultists, don't even know which ones. Off of town over. Always some damn fools worshipping some evil of this or that." Miss Monroe looked up from her sewing, a worried expression on her face. Reaching over, he patted her hand. "Don't worry, missus. I won't let harm come to you or the little ones. Besides, when them adventures get back from delivering the goods to town, mayhap we'll ask 'em to stay a night or two for some food. A few extra strong lads and ladies wouldn't hurt, right?" Her face softened as it eased into a smile, and she nodded at him. "Guess I'll be making some extra tonight, then. You best be getting back to work, dear. The south field won't grow itself, you know." She bent down and kissed his cheek before calling the girls in to help. The clomping and stomping of boy feet followed up behind him. The young boy, no, young man now, of 10 with his mother's red crop of hair and his pa's dark tan skin, looked up at him. "We going back to work, Pa?" They did. Hard, honest work. Dinner came and went, but those adventures never returned as Farmer Monroe had hoped. Ah well. Really, the chances of being needed were very unlikely. Hundreds, if not thousands of days and nights had come and gone just like this one after all. The distant gongs of the old church bell in town struck midnight with their reverberating rings, moving like waves across the valley and echoing off the mountains around them. That isn't what woke Farmer Monroe from his sleep, though. The gong of the bells was something he knew in his heart, had lived with since his parents owned the farm before him. No, what woke him up was the extra gong that sounded. 13. Surely the old priest had just hit one too many notes. Nothing to worry about. It happened now and then. Except, no. No, it didn't. It had never happened before. There was a feeling of unease that washed over him. He rolled to wake his wife, hand falling onto a warm impression in their bed where she should have been. He asked into the dark room, "Margaret?" Ears strained, he listened. Nothing. Nothing at all. Fumbling for a match atop his nightstand, he struck it and set a flame to the lantern. The warm flickering glow spread to reveal nothing as the shadows retreated to their corners and behind the objects they stretched out from. Getting to his feet, he pulled his sword out from under the bed. It was an alien feeling to him, not having laid a hand on it since the war he'd been called into and fought in so very long ago. Moving on callous bare feet, he shuffled out of the room and leaned over the hand-worn banister overlooking the bottom floor. Something giggled. A girl's playful giggle, and a shadow that was blocking the glow from the front door retreated out like a black snake whose tail you had only just seen the tip of before it vanished into the woodpile. "Bethany? Bethy? There you, darling." His voice trembled slightly. Why was it trembling? It was only one of the girls. They giggled all the time. "Bethy, you're scaring your pa. You best come out here right this instant or you'll get a swat." The giggling stopped. Suddenly, and without any drop in volume, just stopped. He listened and watched. Only the glow from outside flickered through the door as the night kept its own counsel. Slowly, one step at a time, he descended the stairs, sword drawn before him. There was nothing save for the orange flickering of lights across the wooden floor. Palm sweaty, he gripped the sword as he turned the corner and looked outside. And something inside him, deep inside him, that quiet little voice that sanity rises from, cracked. The front lawn of the family home was a nightmare come to life. His wife and two daughters, standing in a triangle, hands to the sky, heads back, and... No, not standing, floating. Gods help them, their feet weren't even touching the ground. A language flowed out of their mouths, like black, greasy oil in his ears, inhuman, otherworldly. Then another sound, that of screaming, crying and begging. In the fire at the center, his boy, his only boy. Gods, how could this be? He was tied to a pole, bound in chains, burning alive. Skin black and scorched, blood boiling on his flesh as it burst from blisters. "Daddy! Daddy!" Monroe's shock expired at the sound of his son's voice. Sword ready, he rushed at them. He did. He tried. He really tried. With only 15 feet to go, he was struck down by an invisible wall he could not see. He landed hard and was stunned. Not from the hit, but actually stunned. His body wouldn't move. He tried with every fiber of his being and mental command he possessed, but he couldn't move, save anything but his eyes. Eyes pointing right at the horror of his family. No one to help. No one to... Wait. Who was that? Yes, it was. The adventurers. They were here. Help. Gods above, help me. Save my family. Someone please. Save them. Save my family. They didn't move. Why wouldn't they move? Not only did they not move, they looked to be laughing. Talking as if nothing was going on before them. It always takes so long. Need to shorten these scenes. Blah, blah, blah. Hurry up already! Save them, you monsters! He shouted. His son's screams had stopped. The fire expanded in a flash of light and heat, engulfing his girls. His beautiful wife with their greasy language came to a crescendo, and out of that light rose a demon summoned from deep inside Farmer Monroe. The crack grew, splintered into areas of his mind he did not know he even possessed. The splinters fragmented in open fissures, and in those fissures oozed memories, his family, just like this, 12 times, 100 times, 1,000 times and more, burnt alive, sacrificed to this hell spawn that had been summoned again and again and again. What was left of his mind broke, shattered into fragments and pieces, looping again and again back onto one another endlessly. Save my family! Save my family! Save my family! Save my family! He repeated over and over rapidly. The demoness paused, frozen in time, the black flames stuck as if in a photograph. The adventurers moved now, all groaning. Oh, come on! They glitched out! Damn it, this is bullshit! Said one. Yeah, man, well, these new interactive AI NPCs, every patch they take 1 step forward and 2 steps back, replied another. We'll have to wait for a reset. Come on, nothing to do now except bitch about it. May as well just head on out. They left, leaving Farmer Monroe staring at the bodies of his family. A picture of them burning in flames etched in the programming deeper and deeper until reset. It was a hard life, but a fair one. All right, and that is our third and final story for this episode, Hard Life, performed and written by me, and we apologize on behalf of RPMMORadio. No, we hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun to do it. I actually learned a lot about editing and things like that, so it was a good experience all around. And yeah, it actually was a little like Westworld, which ironically we only started watching recently, and I had already started thinking of that story when we started, and I was like, huh, that's a lot like Westworld. But yeah, we'll get there one day. Although, I think we'll get there more on the video game side of things long before we have what Westworld does, because that's crazy. Can you imagine if, in that show, if they can do that, what their VR is like? I mean, seriously. It seems like a missed opportunity. But, yeah. So, that was that, and hope, like I said, hope everyone enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun doing it. It was a lot of work, more than I even thought it might be, but I think part of that was because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I knew how to do it, I knew what to do, but I didn't know exactly how and what to do it. So it was a learning process. We all had a lot of fun. So, before we get on to our main topic, I will, and before we get to our advertisement, I'll remind everybody, you can go to rpmmoradio.com/Discord, join our Discord server. Anybody actually listening now and wants to call in if you've ever had scary or interesting Halloween or just, I don't know, like a roleplay event that was nerve-wracking or could be considered in that spirit of horror or sci-fi, suspense, that kind of thing, something that really evoked an emotion, or you just had a ton of fun with, or even if there's been something in an MMO that they do themselves. I know there's a lot of... Is there one that doesn't do a Halloween event at this point? I mean, really? I can't think of one. I doubt the girls will either. I mean, it's just a way. They all do it a little different, but mechanical keyboards, Jazz.
All right, they're not mechanical. It's actually a very quiet keyboard. It's because I'm sitting right over it.
Nah, so. It's really loud. But anyway.
Because normally when it's ever, if it's on the other side of my desk, nobody hears it.
Nobody hears it. Yeah. Yeah. It's that or we hear you. I'd rather hear you. So.
Yes, well, that too.
But all right. Well, so before we get to that topic, I will go ahead and do a word from our sponsors. Or sponsor. It's really actually only singular. There's never really more than one episode. So, hunters. Most believe them to be the shining light of hope in a world of darkness. Slayers of the wicked, saviors of the downtrodden. Keepers of light, sacrificing life and limb to turn back the creatures of the night. That's just what they want you to believe. Everyday maimed and burned creatures that can't help the way they were born into the nocturnal world away from that of mere mortals. They need a place to rest, recover, a safe place. That's why we here at Cthulhu 666 Mission are here. We nurse the injured vampire, werewolves, succubi, trillips, boogeymen, hellhounds, void seraphs, crampi, various demons, and of course, halflings back to health. For doing nothing more, of course, than trying to live their lives and survive, these innocent creatures of the night are hunted to near extinction. That's why we at Cthulhu 666 Mission are here to ask humbly, of course, for anything you can do to help these pathetic, pitiful night spawns. Any donation of money, food, or blood is desperately needed, and of course, tax deductible. We also accept unwanted, bad, or lazy children who will finally be put to use in society as they are used in our recreational sports rehabilitation. Also, tax deductible. So please, donate today. If you are a creature in need, visit any location with our Lord Cthulhu's insignia upon the door. Repeat the chant to be taken to the nearest Cthulhu 666 mission location. And remember, Good evening. All right, well, there you go. It's poor night spawn. Yeah. Yeah, that's the actual phrase. In his house of Rayla, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. It's repeated over and over.
No way.
Yeah. That's what that means. I actually didn't make that up. I actually got that straight out of the books for that one. Yeah. So, there's that. Anyway, that was fun. I don't speak bad languages that don't exist very well. So, if anybody wants to call in, of course you're welcome. If not, we will talk, and you will, of course, be stuck listening to us, because apparently that's why you tune in. God only knows why. So, is there anything you guys want to say about what it was writing those stories? I know Jazz was, like, super... because she doesn't write horror. She doesn't. You don't even like horror stuff, do you?
No, I don't watch horror. Yeah. It's really hard for me to write something that I don't know. Right. So since I've never really done horror, but I could do suspense. I think I did pretty well.
I'd say suspense and horror, they go hand in hand. If you're not suspenseful, then you're probably not going to get scared. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I do suspense and gore. I do that both of those really well.
Gore very well.
Yeah, you've read some of my stuff. I can get really...
Very
I can do gore very, very well. Gory stuff does not bother me, so I enjoy writing about monsters and things like that.
Which is ironic, because most people are okay with horror and not the gore, and you're like, oh, right. Horror scares me. I don't want to see that. But, well, I mean, of course he pulled his intestines out and wrapped it around his neck. But I saw
danced around the fire, yeah.
But I saw it coming.
Yeah, I think that's a lot. I don't like jump scares. I don't like it is very scary.
Oh,
the whole Pennywise thing is very scary on a very visceral level.
Yeah, he really tapped into that.
Yeah, and also Aliens, which is another one that I can't, and of course all of the Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, all that stuff just freaks me out. I can't do it.
Really, that is so funny.
No, I have to. I was I watched Aliens and Aliens, the second one, the first two.
Alien is the first one where there's only one. Aliens is the one with the Marines and
Okay,
on the
I've
planet.
seen both of them, but
Yeah.
I've never seen both of them because both times I was made to go, I pretty much sat there with my eyes closed, hands over my ears, going la 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 with my eyes shut. So I don't. I saw bits and pieces, but basically anything that wasn't scary, I remember.
Yeah, you're just
But
like
beyond,
when they found the sweet little girl and everything was quiet, it was good. And then there was
Yeah.
a black beastie thing that had two mouths, and I stopped watching.
yeah, I remember the little girl. I remember a lot of the scenes with her.
What was it?
Um,
Her name was Newt.
Yeah, and the computer guy that lost all of his arms and legs. I saw that part because that wasn't really scary.
Yeah,
when they
the
found it.
bishop. Yeah, the robot
Yeah.
with all the white blood
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And I remember a lot of the pre-scary stuff because I could watch that and I was
Mhm.
fine. But yeah, no to the rest of it. So I spent most of the movie with my eyes closed and hands over my fingers in my ears, singing to myself. Row, row, row the boat. I think for most of
And
those.
then
So-
I asked her to write something scary.
Yeah. So that was really hard, but I thought I did really
good.
well.
Yeah.
I just tapped into suspense and my love of assassin-y stuff.
So you
And
want to
kinda
tell any of the
what that-
behind the scenes stuff about what was how that came to you?
Well,
I
that is
thought
my
that-
character.
I thought it was interesting when you told me, and I know we didn't talk about saying it here, but hey, we're talking backstory stuff, so go for it.
Well, Cial is an assassin for various groups on top of the one that works for the god, and she's
Syphis.
unrepentant about that. That's just who she is. I have a little site that I write on for me and my friends, where I keep a journal sort of for some of my characters, and for Cial, since she can't read or write, or couldn't when I first started her, I just wrote stories. And one of the stories that I did was when she went on a thing to kill this guy on a contract. He had a wife and a child, and he was abusing both of them. So after she killed him, she simply made it so that they got his property, and she got them to a safe place. The
She's
job
a
was
killer with
supposed.
a heart of gold.
Well, she doesn't kill innocents unless she obviously has no way around it, and if she can't get out of it because it's for Syphis or something equivalent like the Night Mother.
The dark right.
Right. If it's actually for those people, sometimes she doesn't have a choice. But if she's ever sent to kill a kid, she does it quickly without pain. She doesn't scare them. But as you can see, when she's in her element, she has absolutely a great deal of fun screwing with people before she kills them because she enjoys it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in this case, this was the guy who she got the contract on a fluke, and she realized who he was. So even though he was being chased and hunted down by more than one assassin for something else he did because he's a crappy person, Cial was going after him for taking this woman and child's property that she had paid him to do. She had paid him to do.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to sell the property and give them the money, and he pocketed it and took off. So when she got his contract, she was like, "Oh, this is going to be fun."
Yeah.
And so
the
you see at the end
the interesting Bosmer that caused him to be so late at the beginning was
her. Yes,
her. Yeah,
that was her.
Held him up so that he'd be stuck out there in the middle of the night.
Yep. So she killed it because that's her, obviously, both because she's a werewolf and because she's a creepy person. Enjoys the night and enjoys the benefit it gives her. Because, as I've always played her, when people challenge her to a fight, they expect her to be this great person. She's not. She usually loses.
Well, yeah,
because
because their assassins are made to be sneaky.
The only way she wins, like she says, cheating is winning. And like this guy was like, "You're really a crappy fighter." She says, "I do a lot better when you don't see me coming." He just kind of looked at her and went, "What? Nothing?"
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I thought how you'd come up with it was cool. And
I had to think of a reason, and I thought that would be a reason for her to be out there doing that, and that just made it fun. And then it just took me about a week to write. So
yeah, off and on.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of time, so.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
I feel you.
Yeah. And what about you, Sib? You want to go? Hers was inspired by possible real life events, or at least people that she knows.
Your turn to talk,
What?
Carlin.
I know.
Yeah.
I forgot what he was talking about.
Your story. Who'd you base that on, you butthead?
Well, I based a little bit on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a little bit on just, I don't know, people I've, talked to and hung out with. So
You're gonna need to fix your central, or you're cutting out way too much.
I don't know how to fix it.
Sorry,
We'll
we're
get
still
it
trying
done.
to get these things. We had done stuff while we were recording them, and we don't have our things set back.
Is that better
At least
A little
you have to
better.
talk.
right now?
Yeah, that sounds a little better.
Okay.
At least you're not cutting.
I'll try it there.
Yeah.
But no, I just kind of, I can't even remember where my story came from.
Oh, I know. I knew all the mannerisms and stuff. A lot of that. I as of right now, I am actually sitting with my right leg underneath my left. That's how I always sit in my stupid computer chairs. Which, when you get to my age, is really bad on the circulation, because by the time I try to get up, it's a limping hobble to get it anywhere as the pins and needles start to.
So you're saying
dig
she's
in.
she's fascinated with the idea of you getting killed by your computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a subconscious threat.
There was something
What's so weird is, like, just yesterday I got a couple life insurance policies I don't remember taking out in my name in the mail.
Oh, you better watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was very funny reading hers and listening to, because she's, even in real life, she's not a cusser, so it was really funny that she had written so many cuss words in, tapping into the inner gamer like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it was pretty funny. So.
But
Awesome.
no, there was another part of that I cannot remember. It was like something I had read. I don't know. It'll come to me. I'm not a drinker, and I've had a couple of, what are they?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So I'm like super mellow tonight. I'm like, meh.
She found a YouTube YouTube channel called what was it?
Tipsy Bartender.
Tipsy Bartender. He's he's an African guy. I don't know if he's like from Jamaica or if he's from Africa, but he's got the, shake it like it's sexy, the awesome accent that when we told my mom about it, because she likes to drink, she's like, I could just listen to them talk. What was the channel again? she loves that accent, apparently. I'm like, that's creepy, Mom, thanks. But
it was caramel apple shot, but it's actually like a piece of apple made.
Yeah, it's
like
it's caramel vodka, and you use a melon baller to scoop out the apple. You soak that apple in the vodka to infuse it with it, so it gets in there for about an hour, and then you dry off the outside of the apple, and then you cover it in caramel. So it's tiny little,
oh my gosh,
alcoholic caramels.
I've had like, I think 3, so I'm like really super mellow.
And for her,
like,
that's a lot. I could drink that much alcohol. I had a shot of it already just because I never had caramel vodka, and I was like, yep, that's good, but I drink apparently too much because it didn't really do much. That's beside the point. As for my story, I just tried to think of something scary and going off of like the future of video games and AI and things like that, and the one of those something that would just be horrible is living the same period, same horrible instance day after day, even if you don't remember it. So I'm sorry if I'm cutting in really bad out there. I'm trying to get that taken care of.
Are you cutting it out too?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Give me a sec here.
Maybe it's not me then.
No, I think it's... There we go. Okay. That should take care of that.
Dang you, technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're having we reset so many settings when we did all that stuff, so I'm sorry if I've been cutting in and out for you on the podcast, you on the live stream. We try to do the best we can. Doesn't always work. But yeah, it was that's kind of where I came up with. And then, of course, scary bits, the adventurers. If you were an NPC, how horrible would it be to have adventurers there when you're getting your cutscenes there and you're just getting slaughtered over and over and over again, and they're just, what do? We just sit there and like, all right. I remember there was a vampire in a crypt in EQ2, and he had the longest friggin' monologue. You remember that, Jess?
I remember him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were just always just like, oh my god, just die already.
I think I did that one.
Yeah,
Did
you
he
did that
stand
one.
on top of like
And
the
there was that
coffin?
one big ball thing with all the arms and eyeballs and stuff. Remember that one? That one also just went on for freaking ever. It was like you could just, everybody, we'd have the raid. We would start his monologue, and then everybody would take their bathroom break.
It was literally that long.
It was that long. Yeah.
But,
okay, he's yammering. Let's get ready.
Let's
do
go.
what you want to do.
So, all right, yep. And that's where I kind of came up with mine. So again, if you guys want to call in, feel free. No pressure. RPMMORadio.com/Discord. Go into the caller waiting room and the host chat, and or the caller details to let us know what you want to say. As for the rest of the show, our main topic is our favorite Halloween RP. And I think I'm echoing real bad on Sims again for some reason. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. I can keep hearing myself. Yeah, I can see her light up every time I talk.
Maybe I should like lower it just a little.
Yeah, or raise it. It's actually, the lower you go, the more sensitive it is. The higher, the more to the right you go, the less sensitive it is.
Okay, let's try that.
Yeah.
We'll keep going until we get it right.
So user Discord settings, if you go to voice and video, and when you see automatic determine your input sensitivity, the more to the right you go, the less sensitive it will be to pick up your voice. The more to the left into the green, the more sensitive it will be. Just a helpful tip for anybody that ever, for some reason, might ever have to know that.
We will get this right.
But, okay, so for me, I think probably the most fun roleplay character I've ever done was, which we actually mentioned him before in a previous episode, was the Watcher, which was this dual personality my character Xanis from EQ2 would take. It was like a psionic being of his darkest, nature and ambitions. And one of the first things he ever did, and it was actually, I think I was friends with you, Jazz, and we had started this, but I wasn't quite in the guild yet, because I remember doing, because I remember doing this.
Initially, when we first started this, you were not in the guild, and we were just kind of figuring out what we were going to do, because What's-His-Face was still alive, and Vaca was still married to him. And
and I was in the Vagabond Knights on the good side, because that's who I first did this event with. That was my very first sort of Halloween. It was actually for Halloween, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But in EQ2, they had this was even back when the housing kind of was. It wasn't anywhere near what it was today. It's like a quarter of what it was today. To make hallways and stuff, I had to use bookcases because they didn't even have walls yet or pillars or anything like that. So I had taken a house and basically made a small maze inside the house. And I told people, when you get teleported in here, just go to first person so that it, because if you go third person, obviously you can see the whole damn maze. It's not really that much fun. Go to first person, and as they went through the maze, there were different little obstacles, riddles, and things like that. And on top of it was me running around, and as they would go one direction and came to a dead end, they would go back, and I would have moved the bookcases so that the way they had just come was closed off.
Oh, that's just mean.
And then it would open, but it would then open up another way behind them where they had just come, so they were bouncing back and forth, and they had to, I don't even remember what the riddle was I had come up with, but it was a lot of fun, and it was the only way for them to get out. And it was enough that actually one person, they asked me they asked me to stop doing it, or stop having people be able to say it over the guild amulets in character, because they were a teacher, and the people crying and being scared in character was really freaking her out. So yeah, that was, I think it was Toasta. Oh yeah, if you ever hear this, Toasta, I remember you. But it was pretty funny because, I was like, okay, I mean, I understand, I guess. I'll stop. I mean, I didn't stop the event, but, just people stopped saying, like, I can't get out. Because there was, for the event, I had to take each person one at a time through it. And there was obviously just to make it fun. There was no way to be rescued. That wasn't the point, because I was actually just going to take each person that wanted to do it through one at a time. It was it wasn't a god mod thing. They were, I set it up, and then they volunteered if they wanted to have their characters run through it. So I didn't okay, and now you're teleported and you can't escape. Which, I mean, I did do, but that was with their permission, so that makes it okay.
Yes.
But yeah, he was that character, and he did that just for shits and giggles, just to toy with him. It was definitely that was at the beginning of, God, if this tells you how long ago that was. That was like after the first Saw movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, which there's been 7 of them now. And
which, if he hadn't told me, I never would have known, because I would never watch that. But my husband picked it up.
Yeah, but it was gory.
Yeah, it was gory, but it was also scary.
You're such a big wimp. You're the toughest.
I do not do. Yeah, no.
You're one
zombies.
Of the toughest broads I know, and yet I can't watch it. It's scary. Is it rated PG-13? I can't. It's PG-13. I'm out. I can't do it.
In my defense, I mean, I watched, what was it, The Sixth Sense? And other than a couple of spots that I had to close my eyes with the whole
that was a suspense movie.
Yes, but I was fine with it for the most part.
I have to say, the first Saw came out in 2004.
Was that it? 2000? It sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds about.
I looked it up.
We were role playing in 2005, so
it may have been the second movie.
Yeah, maybe it was the second one.
Because
but I know that
they were coming out once a year for a good long time.
Yeah, they were. But I know that we made Silver Circle in 2005.
Okay.
So, and we were very young from 2005 to 2006, and that was when you and I were first starting to explore doing events and stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
The second one came out 2005, October.
Well, that was when it was.
That probably was then. Yeah. Yeah, because the series had just really started. The first one was technically a one and done, and then it was so popular, made so much money on such a cheap budget, they made 50 more of them, including Jigsaw, which is out now in your local theaters. Check local listings for showtimes.
So, would you say you made Sanus in 2004? Because were you in the game at least a year before you went to Silver Circle?
Well, he was a well-established character when I met him in 2005.
Yeah, I was in EQ2 from day one. I spent 6 months in Shadow Slayers, which was the guild run by that by the dickhead that I had told previous stories about. That was asking girls to call him by his real name in ERP. I left for about another 6 months after that, so it'd be about a year in. And what made me come back was when the Soga models, because one of the things I hated about the original EverQuest 2, which I know, and this is a contentious thing between Chaz and I hated the original Michael Jackson Play-Doh hair models, because everyone looked like they had horrible botched, like they looked like that living Ken doll, the guy that's now wanting to be a living Barbie doll and is going to go through he's gone through like 58 surgeries and he looks like that. The characters in EQ2 look like that to me. They're like, "Hi, I'm Michael Jackson." Shimon.
That's how elves are supposed to look. No, we're not having this argument. You and I have done that too many times.
Okay.
I'm just looking for little 12-year-old boy children's. Got any half-wits laying around?
I never realized you had to, like if you pick the, non-Soga models.
Soga, yeah.
Or whatever it was, that you had to go in and choose the other one, or else they just gave you a random look.
Yeah.
Until somebody goes, "You have pink hair like mine." And I was like, no, I got black hair.
Yeah. I think I just forgot to tell you about that because I didn't even think about it.
I was always on him to make sure that he changed both models, because if he didn't, I was always laughing at people when they would not do that because they would look hilarious.
I was actually pretty good at it.
You knew they never checked. But yeah, you were fine.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, because he didn't, like, once I had him established, I didn't change his hairstyle on either one just because there's no reason to. Because that was his iconic hair. Unlike in other games where I change it like it's, hair. So, but, yeah, that was one of my first RP events with that. That was a ton of fun. another one. This one actually, there was a haunted house, although that was connected with Civ because she had done. You want to go into what you had done and what that haunted house we made together was?
Yeah. I did an EQ2. I built a kind of really neat looking, what was it? A cave. I can't remember the house for the life of me.
Speak up, some sweetie. That'll help. You're talking too
Okay.
low. Just talk at normal volume.
Well, I had built in one of my houses that had like a cave. I can't remember what the house was. I think it was like the Who Man Retreat or Who Man, I don't know. Anyway, so I made a really neat. What are you doing? Oh.
These two things can't rub against because I can hear them.
Okay. Sorry. Still technical difficulty. But no, I had built a little like haunted house looking cave, and we had a RP ball. And it was just really neat. We had a lot of different things, and as you came in, there was like a little teleporter that you could go to another place that Ashen had actually made a haunted house in. It was kind of like two places in one. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But yeah, and so yeah, they did the ball. Everyone came over, had a good time, and then off to the side because you could do portals to other houses inside someone else's house. And so when they went through that one portal, it would take them to the scary maze thing, which again, it was best done in first person, and you just kind of walk through it, and they just had so many props that you could use in EQ2. It made it a lot of fun. But
very much so.
Yeah, and that was also the one where somebody tried to hijack our event, and that wasn't fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just what people do. It's so annoying.
Yeah. But so you got anything you in particular, Jazz, that you were like, Jazz, you there?
Oh. Did we lose her? She's muted.
She's muted now. I don't think I can.
But
there you
are.
How
about now? Can you hear me?
There you are. Hey.
Oh, okay. I muted and then unmuted myself and it didn't unmute. Anyway.
Oh, that's okay. So yeah, go ahead and whatever you had there.
Halloween's not my thing, but Samhain is. So being pagan, you'd think I would enjoy it more.
Ethan. Oh,
yes.
Sorry. She's a witch. Burn her. Get the torches. The tiki torches? No, those are for the other thing.
What are those for?
Those are for Nazi parties. Because nothing says threatening like a fucking tiki torch.
Yeah, I'm gonna laugh about that for a long time.
Did you hear? Not to get political. Well, this isn't political. Nazis are bad. The end. There was a war fought. The president of the Tiki Torch company actually had to come out and be like, Tiki Torch in no way responds or represents any way our products are used. We are not we are not for Nazis. I can't believe I have to say this shit. The end.
That's basically what he said. I can't believe I have to say this in 2017.
That is really sad.
So does that mean during the 4th of July when I put my tiki torches out to keep the mosquitoes away that I am now having a Nazi party?
I hope not.
It's really helpful during the 4th of July because you can light your punks and your fireworks off the tiki torches. Even though it's a low burn flame, yes. It's very handy. But anyway, sorry. Yeah. Back to burning the witch.
Yes. Anyway, so I don't really partake in most games of seasonal events. I've never, and I know you've made fun of me for that more than once. Mm-hmm. That I just don't. Mm-hmm. I don't do holiday events because they tend to be really crowded and they annoy me. So
just like Jehovah's Witnesses. Weird.
But we do. Yeah, shut up. So we do like. I did like to do something like huntery or gory. I think we tried to always have a gourmet Halloween dinner thing, because
and that for those that may not remember, if you've listened to past episodes, gourmet was Strafe, or Rengots as we kind of know him, on his other character, but he always played the troll Gormal.
Yes,
And
and
he's
he
awesome.
So
cooked
good at it.
all the troll food, and that was like Vaca's favorite food in the whole world. So stuffed eyeballs, and,
Steamed and
you know,
stuffed eyeballs.
yes, and fingers, and hey meat, which is like a blend of several sentient beings is
Hey,
meat
me,
together.
I like that.
Yeah, so it was always very, very funny, and it was a lot of fun.
Especially because other than like things like Jazz and a few of the other, I guess, nighty creatures that were, that weren't really people. They were more like a creature.
Yeah.
They weren't squeamish, but everybody else, like Xanis and pretty much the other 95% of the people there were like,
I used to like, people would, and actually this week I just had a thing here at work where we were talking, and they were like, I have a really strong stomach, there's no way that you can make me gag. I said, you will lose this bet. I am, along with two of my friends, the best at this, and you need to like back down now. But he did it, so I made him gag in 32 seconds.
all right, well,
I think that's a personal record. But yeah, I don't mind, like I said, I don't mind gory, I don't mind gross, it doesn't bother me.
well, Jazz, I think you've set the challenge pretty high, so 32 seconds, make the audience gag, go. I'm not even kidding. Go ahead. I gotta hear it now. Yeah, I gotta hear it.
I can't believe you did that.
No
Why are you
pressure.
throwing down?
I want it. I want to see if I can go longer. I have a strong stomach.
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, then you can plug your ears. Are you there again, Jazz? Or you should go quiet again. There she is.
There we go.
Okay.
Dogs and cat poop and how they look at it. And I started discussing, which ones are soft and gushy on the inside, crunchy on the outside. And,
I've got an old dog that can't control its bowels. You got to bring your A game on that. That's not going to get me.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, not you, perhaps, but I really had everybody going pretty fast because I got into some pretty good detail about the different kinds of candy in the box. And,
Nadea in the chat says, try me, baby. I assume that's what BB means.
Yes, I'm assuming. But it was, I was very graphic, and I don't want to do that here. So.
Aw, you're no fun.
But I talked about my grandma. I've talked about my grandma and her eating rotten pinto beans in this gray sludge in a bowl.
You told me about that, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, and putting it in the refrigerator and letting it ferment is what she called it, until it was this gray slimy sludge.
It wasn't fermenting; it was.
Yeah, it was totally rotten.
It was decaying.
Right, and
yeah.
And this is one little bean. One little bean will like make most people die. I mean, it's poison. And she would just slurp it up like Jell-O because it was gelatinous. And she would just slurp it up and swish it around.
I'm throwing in the towel.
You got her. Yeah.
Only because we're having beans tomorrow.
We are having beans tomorrow. Cornbread, yeah.
That was
all right.
That
so
was,
let's see if see if we can top that one. Hey, Sid. Ooh.
That was very loud. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not giving that waitress a tip. So
nothing broke.
You want to share your sick story of a tiny little girl and a.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, she'd be horrified if she knew we were going to talk about this. But since she said she was going to listen to this episode, hey baby, I love you. Go ahead and tell the story, Chris, or I will.
She was probably about 3, 4, and I cleaned the cat litter box, so it was clean. And she comes walking out with holding one of her little toy spoons, and it's covered in cat litter, and her mouth is covered in cat litter. It was gross. Talk about wanting to throw up.
Yeah. She ate cat turds.
No, she didn't eat those turds, 'cause it was clean.
Yeah, we're going with it. She ate them. That's what I always still tease her for, is eating kitty litter. She's in college now, so who
Yeah, I
cares?
miss her.
She hates you a whole bunch right now.
Oh yeah, I bet she's like, I'm gonna kill them.
Yeah. Nadia, my grandmother eats the 1,000-year egg or whatever with the half-formed duck or whatever. Yeah, I've seen those on, what was it? What was the Joe Rogan show? That they had them eat and do disgusting shit.
Yep. Raw duckling was still in the egg, and you eat them raw whole, and
or
they're
those
babies.
And I've seen those like those 100-year-old eggs or whatever that like they're just like black and just nasty. It's like a solid black when you shell them out.
So are those
Ugh.
easy to find? Or something that's expensive?
You're still cutting out bad, babe.
I'm sorry.
But yes,
You gotta,
they're
you
a
gotta speak
delicacy.
at a normal volume. You're too quiet, babe. Just speak
Okay.
up. I'd rather you echo than not be heard at all. But I don't know where I don't even know where you get those from. They're yeah, I'm not sure. So I don't know how. I blame Jazz for us getting on that.
Century eggs. Century eggs,
that's
also known as preserved eggs. Yeah, I'm looking at.
Have you ever seen one of those? Yeah, if you haven't ever seen a century egg, type it into Google and look at it. It's a horrifying. Yeah. So yeah, I've seen them on like a Food Network thing. I saw them on that Fear Factor. That was it. That show Fear Factor that Joe Rogan ran for a while.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would do that.
Where do you get the idea for like? You know what? Where's that egg been?
I want to eat that. Yeah.
Was that the egg on great grandma's shelf in the pantry? Anybody got salt? So yeah, it's I don't know how we got on that subject, but terrifying things in Halloween. So we're just gonna have a good time with the whole thing. Have you and I know Sib, she's not been around long enough, so I think that was pretty much the only Halloween thing you'd ever done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I can't think of anything else that really struck out. I know I do have some favorite. I'm actually got to say, ESO's holiday or Halloween thing. It's pretty disappointing. It's not actually a thing. It's just an excuse for double XP after one short quest. There's really not much else to it, and gathering a bunch of Halloween-like items, I suppose. But even that, there's no real meat to it. I know a lot of MMOs, they really, both EQ2 and last year, and I think they're doing it again this year in Final Fantasy 14. Have like a whole mansion and everything in like a long quest line that goes through it. EQ2s, they've had theirs for untold years, where they would redo a thing, and fortunately it was almost the same quest every year, so it did get a little old. But the very first time you did it, it was definitely one of the cooler things.
Oh yeah.
You had to go. There was a whole story told as you went. Unlocked one room to the other, and things like that. It was you had to put the story of how the family that lived there had died, and by different clues, and there were the bones of their children and the ghosts of their kids
that was such a disturbing story.
It really was.
And you can hear their voices, and you're just I did it because it was the quest and it was necessary to do because I'm a completionist. But yeah, and then of course every year you had the same one you had to do over and over and over again. But the first time, like you said, that you did it, it was really well done story. It's too bad that they didn't keep it up and make a new one every year.
Yeah,
that would have been even better.
Adjusted a little bit, which is the problem Final Fantasy 14 got into. Theirs, it was the first time they did it last year, and the game kind of suffers from repetitious content updates, which is kind of the thing plaguing it right now. But they actually did something new last year, which was they took I can't remember the name of the mansion, but it was a dungeon in the game early on, and they redid that, cut off certain rooms, and your group would go in there, and there was a combination code that you had to get and piece together throughout the mansion as you went, and to unlock like the last thing, the very end of it. I don't remember what the reward was or the boss. But your group would be in there, and there was no fighting, but you had basically it was a sanity meter, and you weren't supposed to fight the bad guys roaming the halls. You were supposed to avoid them, and if they saw you, yeah, you would be frozen, and your little meter would tick up a little bit, and you were also timed, so you didn't have unlimited time. You had to be careful, but you couldn't be just like super
hide constantly.
Yeah, constantly hide and just wait like 5-10 minutes for it to be perfectly safe. You had to take the risks, otherwise you would run out of time. And it was really neat. It was a lot of fun. I know I did it once or twice, and I think we both passed both times with the pug group that I went in with. And the first time was pretty close, both on time and on like one more person getting spotted would have ended the whole thing for us. But those were really good events. It's a shame that they don't do more creative stuff. On a lot of MMOs. I don't know what World of Warcraft does. Again, gap in our knowledge base. If there's any World of Warcraft players out there that they could kind of help fill that in. It's a shame we don't have Sib's brother. He's actually played World of Warcraft for ever, I think.
I believe they do, because I've heard people talking about it, and I know that EQ and WoW have copied themselves back and forth.
Yeah, they both came out within the same year, if I remember right, and they tried to be rivals, but World of Warcraft just bombed them out of the water. Obviously, 10 million players at one time, as opposed to EQ2's probably 100,000 right now, if that. But yeah, it's
depending.
Yeah, if that. You there, Jess?
Yeah, I'm here. If you can hear
there
me.
There you are.
Yeah.
You were cut out a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm having some connection issues. It's me this time.
Okay. Well, I figured. Yeah, this is just.
It went to the red. So today's just the day, apparently.
It's our 20th episode. We've actually done very, very good on all sorts of stuff. So naturally, everything is going to fall apart and not work, or I'm going to echo, or Sib's going to echo, or I'm not going to be heard, or she's not going to be heard, or
you're going to hear my
up
dogs
and disappears for no reason. It's just been one of those damn days. Yeah, that's the fun of doing these things live. That's all part of the process, and we appreciate everybody that listens and is patient with us on all that stuff.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you guys got anything else? Kind of might run a little, not quite the 2 hours we were aiming for on this. We've got a few other things we can get to though. If you got any dark role play that you remember having, Jazz? I know you've had a lot.
Well, I have dark roleplay always. I mean, that's kind of my
yeah, but
shtick.
You know what I mean, like.
But not on the holidays, no.
Something that, well, even it doesn't have to be holiday. I'm just saying, like, even something like, even you were like, damn.
Oh, I had a couple with Vodka that were very dark, and Vodka when we had to kill that one character. We had several actually that we had to do that too, but there was one that we had to put to death that was a female that my character was very fond of, and we were all very fond of her. She was a raider with us, and she was a very active role player, and her characters, plural, only one of her characters was like happy, and the rest of them were very dark and were very disobedient, and they were always getting in Vodka's face and going, make me, and
yeah.
Going head to head with Vodka never ended well, because then she basically had to put her to death on principle.
Yeah, I think I remember that one, and she was cool with it too.
She was. Yeah. She was 100% cool with it, but I think I was...
Oh, we may be losing her again. Yeah, I'll give her a second here.
Getting technical difficulty.
Just having them left and right tonight. But yeah.
I was crying towards
there you are. You
yeah.
You bonked out there for about 10 seconds.
That figures.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
It was only the core point of your story.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was fine with it. And my character was just like torn to pieces over it, but she never let it show.
Mhm.
Everybody that was watching the role play, with the exception of a few people who were, her officers who knew her very well, knew that she was falling apart, but she would never, ever show it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went through this whole role play, and everyone was like, how could Vodka be so cold? I thought she cared about this person, and
Yeah.
Celia, I think some people were really disturbed that she put this woman to death and didn't even,
Seemed to
blink.
bat an eyelash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't see that she went back up into her office and killed her and just lost it. She tore her whole office apart, and it was just,
person.
yes. But she's an assassin by trade, so this was something she could turn on and off, and she did what she had to do, and then she just was furious, and then she made them bury her properly, and she was given a proper burial, even though normally we just like dumped them out and wait for people to death.
Just
we
put
dumped
them in
them
a
out
slop
in the
pile
common
with
lands.
the rest of them.
Yeah,
Well,
she made her. Yeah, she buried her proper and said her goodbyes. But and then she also had to She had to kill one of her grandchildren.
Yeah, but you can have more.
What was his name? Yeah, Kogaji. She had to kill Kogaji.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And because he was so broken from everything that had been done by his father that he was trying to orchestrate the end of the world. So Baka put him to bed permanently. So but that kind of stuff is always really dark and is really intense.
Yeah, and it doesn't get to happen like that very often, because there's very obviously most people, when they make their character, unless it's for an event, they're permadeath's always off the table. And of course, if
always, yes, these were people who were okay with it, who wanted to move on, want to play their character anymore, and this was a way to do it. I think the scary ones came up like that one time that both Vodka and Tilder at the same time went into bloodlust.
Oh, okay.
And chased each other and everyone else around the hall trying to eat them.
I don't know if I was around for that one, was I?
No, you weren't. You weren't there for that one. That was Logan. That was Wolf. What's his name? Greiger. That was back in Greiger's time. So, and Greiger was desperately trying to keep the two of them from killing each other, and in the process, they were both trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And they eventually threw the two of them into a room together and hoped to God they didn't kill each other. And they didn't. They tried, but they didn't. And then they both came out of it in one piece. So,
yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. It was apparently one of the favorite RPs of the guild for a long time, because they all got to see Vodka in all of her scary glory. Completely no clothes, no cares,
no illusions, all that.
No smoke and mirrors. This was Vodka going, "Hi, come here closer. I want to kill you. I'm hungry." And it was fantastically
fun.
Feast on your
flesh and flay your marrow from your bones.
Yeah, I mean, she was talking like that basically. She'd like switch to a really sweet siren-like, trying to get people to come closer to her so she could eat
succubus part of her.
Yeah, the succubus part of her came out, and it was very freaky for everybody to see perfectly coiffed, calm, in control Vodka in this state of rar. Was a lot of fun.
Rar. Is that the technical term? Rar.
And I think the funniest part was it wasn't planned. It just kind of happened, and then when she went into bloodlust, one of the newer members of the guild opened the door in the healing room. There was like all these wards in front of the door, so she couldn't get out when she was locked in there, and he opened it because she was calling to him.
He was the idiot in the movie. Everyone in the theater is like, no.
And she just about killed him. The only reason she did it is because Greiger grabbed him and literally threw him across the whole clinic through a wall. He almost died from that, but it got him away from
Vodka.
Vodka.
Being ripped in half.
Right, because she would have eaten his soul too, so that would have been the end of that. So
like a tasty trait.
Yeah, like a chip, man. Can't eat just one.
But yeah, I've always enjoyed the dark role play as well. I can't do it all the time. It wears on me after a while.
Draining.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Terribly draining.
And it can really, like our last episode, it could really start to affect your thinking in real life if you stay, because to get in the character's mindset, you've got to get. It's kind of like you're type acting. I guess.
Yeah, you
way
are.
of putting
And
it.
I think that, and I told people who play dark characters, you're also your friend or you'll lose your mind. Nobody's perfect, and eventually it will start affecting you. So it's
Yeah.
important to get away from your intense characters and play someone lighthearted and fun now and
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, or just go off and level and play around with it a little bit. Otherwise,
Right.
it can start to, it can start to be a bit of a downer. it's like, it's a little too much
Vodka
for me.
was definitely, she was very hard to play. So
Yeah.
I had lots of alts. I had 23 of them actually.
Yeah,
Wow.
I took the whole alt thing to heart.
the whole altaholic was, it was a literal.
I had never been one before, but after I started playing Vodka,
This is a
man.
safe place. Jess. Show us,
Yes,
show us on this character where the alts touched you. Here and here and here and here and here.
Yeah.
But that's we appreciate everybody putting up with some of the technical errors we've had this go around, and one gigantic flub on my part, and I apologize to Sib for that, but her story was actually much better with all the sound effects and none of the parts where I had to, where we flubbed and, we repeated things, which is a fun process if you've never done that. You basically speak your line, and then when you're like, you got to start over again, Yeah, the people. Okay, I have no idea what that is. So anyway, we appreciate everybody hanging in there. You guys on the podcast. Hopefully this will sound okay when it comes out the other end. I'll do what I can.
You might want to change how you say that.
When it comes out the other end. Hey, it's Halloween. I'm going to stick with it. I got a dog in my front yard that's made of skeletons. It has loose hanging. It looks like skin, but it's actually pantyhose and latex glue with a fake poop behind him. So
That's gross.
Yeah. I don't know. But, so, appreciate everybody doing that and hanging in there. For our future stuff, I'll go ahead and so we've talked about it a little bit. We're, because some of the way that things fall on, I think our last episode of the year will probably be December 16th. We're still going to do every 2 weeks, but I think that is where that falls on. Bring up my handy computer calendar here. Let's see, what is the 28th? So we'll have 11th. Is that right? Oh, might have to, and then 25th of November, and the 9th. I got off, didn't I?
The 25th will be Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we might have to. I hadn't looked that
No,
far
there'll be
ahead.
a couple times when we won't be able to because of holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be with.
Maybe we can skip it to the 2nd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we might have to shuffle things around. We've done it once before where with something that falls on a major holiday, we did it the week before or the week after. So then we had a break and then did an episode 1 week after the other. And we'll probably do our last one for the year on the 16th, because then after that is the
Christmas, New Year's.
Christmas, and then New Year's, and then so after the New Year, we'll probably come back and probably do that that first Saturday and restart on which will be the 6th of January. One thing we are thinking of doing, we have discussed it, is taking the show from bi-weekly to a weekly show. If that's something people want, and I've actually heard a few people that were, they would like to have that. I think we could probably do it as long as we have, participation on your behalf and you guys help us out. Because we have lots of things to talk about, but even that is only goes so far.
If you guys have any topics you want us to have a run at, just throw them out.
Yeah,
we'll give it a go.
Yep. Just let us know what, either in our Discord chat, or if you email us, or what's the other one? Facebook. That's the other one. Facebook. Yeah, go to Facebook and look up RPMMORadio. You can find us there.
I think I'm catching.
Yeah. But so just let us know. That's something we are toying with. If there's a demand for it, we would be happy to do it. We'll probably come back with probably a slight redesign on how we do things and everything like that. But it's just it's kind of up to you guys if you really want to hear it. We're really having a lot of fun doing this. Technical issues aside, I can't tell you how much that frustrates the hell out of me, but that's nothing we can always handle when it's starting in the middle of the show, when it starts out just fine and then for some reason shit falls apart. Also internet connections on Jazz's half. She lives I think
in the middle of nowhere.
I think the actual technical and legal term is the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yep.
I'm
an hour from everything.
That's the legal term. You actually, she was actually in breach of legality by not putting the fucking nowhere in there. Saying she's in the middle of nowhere is the understatement. She is in the middle of fucking nowhere.
I am 1 hour from every significant city in Iowa, and that's not saying much.
If something horrible happened to her and her entire family, it would be years before anybody ever found them.
Not that bad, but yes.
It'd be probably, they would, aliens 1,000 years from now would be like, what the hell happened? They're that far out in the middle of nowhere.
They are not.
They can see, they're so far out, they can see the stars at night.
That's true.
Imagine that.
Yeah. I walk outside, there is no lights. You can, other than from the casino, you can look up and you can see all the stars.
Which is an hour away. It tells you how much.
No, the casino is like 5 minutes away from me, smartass. But
sure,
I live an hour from every major city.
Yeah, we actually have a Cherokee casino about the same distance, about 5 minutes away, and it's a large 20-story structure in the middle of the flatlands of Oklahoma. It's completely like, one of these things is not like the other.
The other. This one is only like, I think 15 floors.
So it's teeny.
Yeah, it's pretty small casino.
Ours
but it's
has
very
a Hard Rock
here.
in it, so take that, losers.
Yeah, no. This is a fairly small but very popular one out here and does very well, which I'm happy of. But there are also not a whole lot of lights and glitter either, so you can only see it because, they have street lights. So if you look over toward it, you'll see it.
Yeah.
And when we lose power, which does happen, I'll look over there and see if their generators are on.
Is it
see how bad the grid is. Yeah, if it's just me or is it the grid? And if you can't see my neighbors, I'll be like, nope, we're all out. And then the casino will come back on, and you're like, oh, their generators kicked in.
Yeah, no. I think Nadith in the chat says I live near the Foxwoods, the Mohegan Sun, Pequot, and Mohegan.
Yeah, those are really big
casinos, man. Yeah. See it. I hope I pronounced the Indian names right. I'm pretty good with that stuff. Everything around here is actually Indian based in some way, shape, or form. And where I grew up, Simi Valley was.
The Meskwaki here are they changed the way that their name is spelled to more towards away from English spelling and more towards
the native
kind of sounding, so it's easier to pronounce, which is nice because now you look at it and you can't help but say it right. So
how funny. So they American, or I guess Englishized it.
They un-Americaned it.
Englishized it to begin with, and it made it harder to pronounce.
Well, it was because when their tribe was renamed by the illustrious white people, they didn't do a very good job. So
I'm whitey, and I apologize.
Yes.
I don't apologize. I wasn't born.
So now they have it like MESK instead of the QUE.
Oh, yeah.
So it's much easier to look at and say, that's Meskwaki, and it's really easy. And they put a W in there, and so it's Meskwaki, and you can tell that's what it is. So that's nice, but they own everything around here. So it would be nice if our grid and their grid and their internet and our internet were connected, but it's not. I keep saying, how much do I have to pay y'all to go 15 feet up the hill? Because we really would like to have
I'm willing to sign away 15 feet of land.
Yeah, we're telling you guys, just give me a break. I really want the internet from you guys.
Throw a slot machine on there.
Yeah, Jiminy.
But, if that's something you guys would enjoy, or if you would like to hear more of us for God knows whatever reason, I honestly don't understand it. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. Love it. But I just don't understand it.
And if you see an arm behind Ashen's head, that's me. I'm waiting.
Yeah, she's
I
gotta,
was trying to do bunny
you
ears,
gotta-
but he's too far
yeah,
away.
you gotta go more towards Hawkeye.
No, I could see my arm. I've been watching
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah, because you'd have to get right behind that curtain over there.
See, hold on. Wait, just
Well,
give it a
there's-
couple seconds.
there's-
Yeah, there's a delay.
There's a huge delay from what's actually
Wait.
happening. All right, I'll hold still for...
No, just, you gotta look at the monitor.
I am looking at the monitor and I'm holding still. See, this is what I'm married to.
Here it is. Let's see.
Her stubby little arms just... She's like a tiny T-Rex. She's over there just...
She's so gonna smack the back of your head in
out there, but I couldn't. I tried.
Yeah. So yeah, it's... Sorry, you just totally derailed the fucking show with that. For those that are on the podcast, I actually have a video camera for the live feed and when we put it on YouTube. It's something I'm trying out so that you can see me when I start. I plan on streaming while playing some games. Which apparently Destiny 2 isn't one of the fucking games that you can stream because, for whatever reason, Bungie doesn't want people streaming it with OBS and other things like that.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So, fuck you, Bungie. That was one of the reasons I got it on the computer was because I thought, oh, that'll be fun to stream and you know, I could actually joke around and anytime I'm chatting with someone, RP like I'm actually the character and be annoying about it. Turns out, no, it just shows a giant black screen and my big fat white monkey head on there and that's all you see.
No one wants to hear you? Really? I can't imagine. You're just such a nice person.
Nobody likes you.
See in my screen.
Yeah, your kids just called me. Yeah, they don't like you either.
That's
like
true.
you. I like
Thank you. One day we're gonna meet and we're gonna sit together and you're gonna realize how you are.
Say that again, you cut out there real quick.
You're gonna realize how outnumbered you are when she and I get in the same room together.
That's right.
That's when I get to actually be who I really am on the inside. And let loose the cannons of war. So anyway, I think we're gonna wrap up the show because we're just rambling now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. That's
So,
true.
someone's had one too many vodka apples. I've had a lot of caffeine. Jazz is just jazz.
Jazzing with jazz.
Jazzing with jazz. So,
Woohoo!
listen, everybody, honestly, appreciate you guys tuning in to RPMMORadio. This is our 20th episode of the Halloween special. Hopefully you enjoyed the 3 stories. We really did have a lot of fun doing them. It was seriously a ton of fun. We do appreciate you all for listening. If you have any show ideas or anything like that, RPMMORadio, RPP. I say it so fast sometimes. RPMMORadio@gmail.com or go to facebook.com/RPMMORadio. Twitter, Twitch.
Keep going, you'll get it.
Yeah, I know. But the truth, Bob. I can link you to the video in which we got those vodka apple caramel apples done.
That
And,
sounds so freaking good. I may
I'll-
have to actually
if,
try that.
Oh, it is so good.
I'll link
you
it to
can
you
hardly
guys in the
taste the
Discord
alcohol.
chat.
It's like, and they're not. You just have like a little bite size, basically. It's like a little niblet, but it's enough to really. I mean,
they're infused.
Yes.
They are infused.
That's
As
all I
you can
got,
tell by
is yes.
slathering Sib. So, with that, everybody.
Slurring?
I'm not slurring. With that,
You're
everybody.
slurring.
You're gonna get smacked.
All right.
Yes.
So,
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye. Thank
and
you for
tune
tuning
in next time after our ritualistic halfling sacrifice to Cthulhu 616 mission when we see how well their souls have fermented. Next time on RPMMO Radio. Good night, everybody.
The thoughts and opinions expressed by RPMMO Radio are just that, and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great rock covers.